to make history and not to repeat history.
There is a great potential buried in your imagination. Get ready for exploration.
Thinking is the ultimate source of the unlimited storehouse of riches and supply which can never run out.
Wurabempa Ministries presents
History Makers Out with Apostle Kwame Wurabempa every Monday to Friday.
Onyadofo, memo akwaba. Ewo History Makers our channel iso. Si catch you say hadie eya himfie. Ene asemo Onyankopon de atoma koma ponso. Am pese me no chen. It's very, very exciting. Matudin, power of possibility thinking. Power of possibility thinking. In the Gospel of Matthew chapter 14, verse number 13 to 21, the Bible says, when Jesus heard what has happened, he withdrew by boat privately to isolated place. Hearing of this, the crowd followed him on foot from the towns. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them and healed their sick. As evening approached, the disciples came to him and said, "This is a remote place. It is already getting late. Send the crowd away so they can go to the villages and buy themselves some food." Jesus replied, "They do not need to go away. Give them something to eat. We have here only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish." They answered, "Bring them to me," he said. He directed the people to sit down on grass. Taking the 5 loaves and 2 fish and look up to heaven and gave thanks and break the loaves, he then gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 baskets of broken pieces that were left over. The number of those who ate was about 5,000 men, beside women and children. Power of possibility thinking. Absolutely. The feeding of 5,000 from the Gospel of Matthew is a powerful illustration of the power of positive thinking and the faith in action. Why am I saying this? The power of possibility thinking is dynamic and optimistic mindset that focuses on potential and possible positive outcomes, opportunities, and growth in any situation. As a matter of fact, it involves cultivating a belief system in essence of possibilities and potentialities that exist even in the face of challenges and setbacks. Why am I saying that? In the storyline, we all saw that Jesus withdrew to an isolated place after he had heard of John the Baptist's death. And however, the crowd also followed him and seeking healing and guidance. Despite the grief and the logistical challenges of feeding such a multitude, Jesus responded with compassion and overwhelming faith of God's provision. As a matter of fact, when the disciples begin to express concern over the situation, particularly the needs of the crowd, and the suggestion that Jesus should send them away because they thought it is impossible to feed such a crowd. Now you share that they are concerned. Number one, they thought evening is approaching, and it dedicates the passing time and the stage of urgency that failed the disciples, because they recognized the crowd has been with Jesus for a long time, and then and the time is fast spent and it's getting late. And as a matter of fact, the passage of time reveals God's divine care and the fulfillment of dreams. Why am I saying this? Because in the book of Genesis, Joseph's journey for being sold into slavery, into becoming the second most powerful man in Egypt along many years, demonstrated that although his brothers sold him into slavery at the age of 17, he faced many trials, including forcefully accused and imprisoned. Despite all these challenges, Joseph raised to that position of power. And this passage of time, reunion and fulfillment. Emma Yehu said, the time his brothers came to Egypt for food, Joseph has already been in 30 years old. And this demonstrates, said, the passage of time, refer the continual progress and of time and its effect on people, events, and situations. As a matter of fact, the passage of time shows the unfolding of God's plan. So when the time is past spent, or evening is getting evening, at times it might be God's plan, because it is a place where development of character and the fulfillment of God's promise. Why am I saying this? The long period of waiting often teaches patience and faith, just like Joseph. You have to trust God's timing, the time that will allow him to grow and prepare. Because as much as God has promised, it can take time for its fulfillment. But all what I'm trying to say is that eventually the fulfillment and the faithfulness of God, of his provident care and the orchestration of the event of his purpose will surely come to pass. But the disciples thought, as much as the evening is approaching, they thought it's impossible. So they decided to drive these people away. And number two, the disciples let Jesus understood that the place where they find themselves is a remote place. The place that the disciples find themselves, the place where they met Jesus, they thought is a remote place. So Jesus should drag them away. The disciples' practical concern of the well-being of the crowd, as a matter of fact, driving them away, it is not something that the disciples meant, but it is a well-being that they are concerned about the crowd. They recognize that the place is a remote place, away from a near village or the marketplace, where the people could obtain food because evening is approaching. Why am I saying that? Because a remote place refers to a location. Right now, I don't know, maybe right now, I don't know the location that you find yourself. Maybe where you are, where you have positioned yourself right now, that it can be possible for God to intervene in your situation. Because this was the same song that the disciples were singing. Because a remote place refers to a location that is far from the populate area or a center of citizenry. A remote place signifies an isolated area where people withdraw from the hustling and bustling of daily lives for isolation, reflection, and at times it's a place where people have more time to pray and teach and meditate. A remote place can be distant from the town or a city or other populous area. It provides a sense of privacy and isolation, always from the annoyance and distraction from urban urban life. So many times, maybe you find yourself, you thought that there's nothing possible there. Because as much as you find yourself in a remote place, in your mindset, you see yourself as this is not where God has positioned me. This is not where I'm supposed to be living. This is not where I'm supposed to live my life. It many times, so I know feel say be papa be intimate mama. Now this is the song that the disciples were singing. Remote place is often a quiet and eloquent environment, conducive completion, meditation place and a spiritual activity, and it provides a place for individuals to connect with nature, with their inner selves. Why am I saying that? A remote place is symbolized as a place of wilderness or a desert. A remote place, it might be signified like a desert. You don't see yourself where you are. You thought it's not the place that you were designed to be, because you think when you turn, you have 160 degrees. You don't see anything better happening over there. Now it carries a spiritual significance in the Bible. The wilderness is a place of testing. The wilderness is a place of purification. The wilderness is a place for preparation for God's purpose. So maybe God placed you there to prepare you for a purpose. But the disciples thought it's a remote place, so Jesus should send them away. A remote place provides an opportunity for encounter. A remote place provides a place where you can encounter with God. A remote place is a space where individuals can experience divine revelations, spiritual renewal, and transformation. But the disciples thought that place is not a place where the children, the crowd should meet Jesus, because they thought it's getting late. I don't know about you, that where you find yourself. I don't know about you, where you think God has positioned you. I don't know about you, where you thought where you are there is nothing good. It is impossible to excel. It is impossible to be successful. It is impossible to break through. I don't know about you. You thought it is impossible, but impossibility is possible with God. Impossibility is impossible with God. And number 3, the disciples said, it is already getting late. So the disciples' statement reflects a practical concern about the time of the day. I don't know your time. What says the time? I don't know your time. The implication that the crowd has gathered at the remote place, at the remote location, and evening is approaching, and there is limited daylight left to travel to procure food. And many times when you see your time, you thought the time is running out, because when you consider your age, you consider where you have traveled to, and you don't see anything beneficial, you don't see anything growing, you don't see anything coming up. You thought it is too late, and the disciples thought it is already too late. And that was the music the disciples were singing. They said it is already getting late. It indicates the current time is advancing towards evening. The current time is advancing. Many a times when you consider even your classmates, where they are, when you consider your age, where you are now, you've not got married, there's nothing happening in your life, you have not even traveled, you have not built your house, so buy your car. All these things are part, so you are quick to respond that it's impossible. It's getting late at times means the day is progressing and the time is moving towards evening hours. I don't know. Time no move. God has given us 70 days. By His grace, He will continue. And your time you are 50 years. Your time you are 40 years. Your time you are 30 years. You have not married. You have not built your house. You have not buy your car. You don't have even a family. You thought it's getting late. And that was the music the disciples were singing to Jesus. And it suggests that a need of active decisions are quickly to avoid potential issues are delaying. You thought you are delaying. If you say delay, and it conveys a sense of pressure to action. You want to make sure that the most is being done because you are remaining, you are getting back. You are the time remaining before you know has become too late to do so. You thought it's too late to do so, and the disciples were concerned about the lateness of the hour, highlighting the practical challenges. It highlights the practical challenges of meeting the need of a large crowd in a remote place as the evening keep on approaching and setting the stage. And I believe it was setting the stage for Jesus' miraculous provision. So the disciples came to Jesus and they said, send the crowd away so that they can go to the villages nearby to buy for themselves food. Lack of food, because they thought the moment is impossible. They thought the moment is impossible. They thought the moment is impossible. The word impossibility refers to something that suggests it cannot be achieved. And that was the music the disciples were singing. It's often due to extreme difficulty within the boundaries of what you know. The disciples were suggesting about what they know because they thought the time is fast spent. So when they were thinking about what they know, it also shows a situation that is beyond the capacity and the resources or the understanding of natural law. Because in the natural law, where they are, you can't make anything come out proofly because the place is a remote place and it was getting late. The word impossibility suggests that a sense of hopelessness. It suggests that the desired outcome is so far out of reach that it is not even worth attempting to pursue. It is not even worth attempting to pursue because the disciples find themselves in a place where they think they were hopeless. They were in a hopelessness situation, and they believe that whatever they desire, whatever they thought they can give to the crowd is not possible. But I have a good news for you. The Bible says Jesus instructed them to bring the little that they have. I don't know what you have, but the Bible suggests that Jesus told them that, what do you have? There was a young boy among them who has his lunch, 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And Jesus says, the little that you have, I want you to give it to me. I don't know what you have. In the book of 2 Kings, chapter number 4, the Bible says the widow who went to prophet Elisha that he is on death and debtors are chasing her. The prophet asked her, what do you have? He said, I have a little oil. And that small oil was able to transform the woman's situation to become an oil transporter. I don't know what you have. Maybe the little idea, maybe the little capital, maybe the little thing that you have. You have not discovered it yet. You don't know what you have right now. But Jesus told them what you have. And in life, in the face of scarcity, Jesus demonstrated the power of possibility thinking by seeing the potential where others see limitation. By seeing potential where others see limitation. As a matter of fact, Jesus demonstrated the power of possibility thinking. And that is what I want to push you today. That is what I want to plant it in your spirit. That is why I want you to know that there's nothing called impossible. He took what seemingly inadequate, and through the power of God transform it into abundance. And I pray that with the power of possibility, when you can visualize, when you can think positively, when you can even visualize that all things are possible, you can transform the inadequate into abundance. The Bible says Jesus blessed the fishes, the bread and the fishes, and miraculously multiply it enough to feed the entire crowd, and left almost about 12 baskets full overflow. This miraculous provision not only satisfy the physical hunger, but also serve as a profound metaphor for spiritual nourishment and abundance by God's grace. Why am I saying this? Feeding the 5,000 challenge us to embrace possibility thinking in our own lives. Why am I saying this? Like the disciples, we may encounter situations where resources, even scare or challenges, insimultaneously we think it's not possible. Yet if we trust God's provision and remain open to possibilities beyond our understanding, we too can experience the miracle of abundance. Why am I saying this? Because ultimately, feeding the 5,000 served as a powerful testament of the boundless power of faith and the transformative impact of possibility thinking. When coupled with unwavering trust in God's provision. This morning, I challenge you that we must approach life challenges with faith. I challenge you that we must approach life challenges with compassion and an open-minded, knowing that with God, nothing is impossible. I don't know where you are now, because I believe that possibility thinking involves having faith. Believe in God's promises. Maintain hope and trust in His providence. Renew your mind with positive and optimistic thoughts, putting your faith into action by prayer and works, and seek support of the communities of believers. It is a mindset grounded in the assurance that with God all things are possible. In the book of Matthew chapter 19 verse number 26, the Bible says, Jesus looked at them and said, with man it is impossible, but with God all things are possible. With man it is impossible, with God all things are possible. All God wants us to do, that we have to remove ourselves from humanity and place ourselves in divinity, because it's only in divinity that things are possible. But with man everything is impossible, but with God all things are possible. And the Bible says God created you as His image and likeness. And I don't know about you, that with God, once I have the DNA of God inside my spirit, I believe that everything is possible. Why am I saying this? There's a man called Peter Pan. He made a powerful statement. He said, the moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. So whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter the situation that you find yourself. It doesn't matter what has entangled you. It doesn't matter the hour, the time, and it doesn't matter the location. The moment you doubt, you cease to move forward. Because possibility refers to a condition being possible, meaning something that can happen or exist, although it may not currently be in the case. In the book of Mark chapter 9 verse number 23, Bible says, if you can, Jesus said, everything is possible for the one who believes. If you can, it's your own. You have to make it possible. If you believe, everything is possible, because possibility is considered what could be achieved and conceivable under a certain circumstances, even if those circumstances have not yet materialized or may even materialize, may never materialize. It involves exploring alternative paths, opinions, solutions that may lead to a different outcome or experiences. Why am I saying this? What I'm trying to put in your spirit is that there's what I want to put in your spirit is that whatever the mind conceives, whatever your mind conceive and believe, it can be achieved. Whatever your mind conceive and you believe, it can be achieved, because in the power of possibility thinking aligns with the importance of faith and the belief in God's promises and power. Why am I saying this? What I'm trying to say is that possibility thinking involves believing in God's ability to work a miracle, providing solutions, bringing about positive outcomes, even in the face of a similar challenges or obstacles, because possibility thinking is grounded in hope and trust in God's providence and goodness. Possibility thinking involves trusting in God's plan for your life, maintaining hope for a better future, and even in difficult circumstances. Why am I saying that? I am saying that because possibility thinking involves shifting your perspective from doubt and negativity to optimism and possibility. Align your thoughts with God's promises and possibilities. Taking proactive steps guided by faith towards your ideas and your aspirations. Why am I saying that? You need to trust that God will provide the strength and the resources needed along the way. And I pray in my spirit, and I don't have doubt, that as much as you involve in seeking God's guidance, the intervention through faith, through prayer, believing that He hears our prayer and is able to accomplish for more than we can ask and imagine, according to Philippians chapter 3, verse number 20. Because you are reinforcing the principles of the community and support. And I pray that as much as you have developed the power of possibility thinking, you involve the surrounding everyone with the supportive community of faith, and that they will encourage and uplift you in the journey of faith and possibility. Bringing my message to the hand, Helen Keller make a very pronounced statement. He said, optimism is faith that leads to achievements. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. And I pray in my spirit that as much as you have that optimism, it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter the location, it doesn't matter the time, it doesn't matter the situation that you find yourself. I know that with God all things are possible. So I pray that as much as we are developing the power of thinking, possibility thinking, you excel and make impact for your children to see. And I pray that with this possibility thinking, you can discover and motivate generation to come. I thank you for listening to me. God bless you. Bye bye.